Welcome back, Rednecks on Comics. I'm Daniel.
I'm Mark.
I'm David.
Today we're going to start off again with David. He's doing
Freedom Fighters.
Freedom Fighters. What number?
Freedom Fighters #1.
Number 1. So we'll let him get started.
All right. Chose this book. This is a series that I read back in the 70s when it first came out. And so I was curious to see how they have adapted it to the new standards of what we would see going on today. This all takes place on Earth X. So it's not anything that you would see on ours.
Kind of like what the DC crossovers that they done with the TV shows with Arrow
Right.
and
Right.
Flash, Supergirl.
So let's put them all together.
Yeah. And so what this one has done, this series is starting out in 1963, and Germany has won the Second World War. So they are the new superpowers taking over the United States, and the freedom fighters now are down to just a few left from what originally started. And they've gotten the main characters that you start with in the story are Black, I was going to say Black Canary,
Condor.
Black Condor, and the Human Bomb, Doll Man, and Jesse Owens. And they start out going to an underground revolution meeting, and it takes you through, starts out with how they want to try to encourage more people to be in the revolution. And during the meeting, Hitler has some thugs that are reminiscent of a character that we all know and love, but instead of Plastic Man, it's Plastic Men. And they all have the same power. So they were disguising themselves as furniture to get into the meeting. And it goes on from there. They get started in a fight and everything. I can say at this point it is not a kid-friendly book as to some of the things that happen. The writing is very good. Gets into details. It sucks you in quick into the story by just how quick. You expect some different things to go on. Normally setting up a story. This one, you meet these guys at the first, and then wham, they get took down, and it goes through some of the things that have happened, and then it jumps ahead 55 years to 2018. And the revolution with the freedom fighters has been gone for decades, and all of a sudden these new freedom fighters pop back up and start to take care of some unfinished business, let's say, that needed to be taken care of, resulting what happened to the original freedom fighters back in 63.
So did it start off with the original ones in 63?
Yes, started off with the original ones in 63, what were left in this version. Uncle Sam back in 63, he's supposed to be the spirit of America.
Yeah.
As the spirit and everything gets stronger, so does he. Well, he kind of, just fades away. Morale is low and all that back then, and he's gone. Nobody's seen him, nobody's heard from him. And then these guys pop up in what is considered now, 2018, but there again, Earth X. You can't play baseball because that was an American pastime.
So America's just done away with right now at this point.
It's Germany 2.0.
Okay.
As the people call them, the Razzies, or Razzies, however you want to do it, have taken over everything. And one thing that it does in this one is Hitler survives and goes on, and now his son is the Fuhrer, and it's starting to tell you things about what's going on with that, and then it just ends with those new characters popping up and taking care of a little bit of business,
Okay.
and then it ends right there, and you're like, oh man, you want to see what's coming next.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Now you said that's the number one. What are they up to right now? Do you know?
Number 6 just came out.
Okay, so it's be something.
Something good
Let's
if
be able
you
to-
like.
Yeah.
So to jump on the bandwagon now. Issue number 6 I just read a synopsis on, and that is supposed to be a really good one, and bringing back a character from Morrison's run, a character called Overman, and so he will be coming into issue 6, but it's got a lot, just his first issue, it's got a lot happening, quick pace, nothing's drawn out, is boom, 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 set you up, ready to go, and everything keeps falling over on me here. There we go. But artwork, good artwork, a really good story.
What would you rate the artwork in the?
Artwork, I'm going to go 7 to a 7.5.
Okay.
Storyline, though, to me, as former military, touches a base with the wars and everything. I'm going to go with 8.5 on the story.
Okay.
Very interesting, definite read. I'm definitely going to be reading the next ones and catch up to see where it's at.
It's a 12-issue maxi series, and I was interested in it when it first came out myself, but never got a chance to read it. With everything that we have coming in here every week, I've got to be kind of selective. I can't take everything home and read it.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam's always been one of those characters that intrigued me anyway.
Yes. It was the same way, and like I said, from the 70s when I started reading the first volume of it, it caught me that way too. But like I said, the little bit of graphic on it, not a
More of a mature.
more of a
read.
mature, I would say late teens and up, just because of the violence and the things going,
Yeah.
things going on and stuff in it.
So we're just talking about more or less blood and gore. How was the language?
Language, not really anything, more so, I guess you could call it the racism between America and the Germans.
Yeah.
How they're dealing with that, and the language
Yeah.
back and forth between, as they would say, Nazi scum and American bastards.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got to look at the time frame for it and everything. Comics is this place, to get for me anyways, to get outside of this world and escape for a little bit. So
That's what they are. They're an escape from reality
Yeah,
for just a
yeah.
little while.
and that one is a good escape. Especially if you're into history at all. This one is okay. What if that had happened?
yeah,
This could be just,
yeah, and in all fairness, it could have happened. Certain
Yeah.
things led out different ways.
Very true. Very true.
Thankfully, it didn't, but it was a good possibility.
But it did a very, and like I said, it sucked me in quick. Once I got the first 2 pages, boom, I just kept going and kept going, wanting to know, and then it just ended too quick.
Well, while we got us 3 here, we talked about, you mentioned Power of X, which would be Power of 10.
Yeah, Power of 10.
And then they're going to come out with the House of 10 or X.
House of X.
Now I heard that there's going to be a big spooler with the first issue of Power of X, more so than what they've ever done before.
I heard that too, but I haven't seen what it's going to be.
Well, I hadn't either. I just want to see what you would think it would be, because they've been some you had Iceman coming out of the closet. That was a pretty big thing for his time. So I'm wondering what they're going to try to do to top it. What do you guys think it might be? Just kind of a speculation.
Well, the run that they've been doing with all the different color X-Men, X-Men Gold, X-Men Black, Red, Blue, all of these, to me, I'm thinking they get back to the top 10 Power of X-Men. The strongest,
Yeah.
the most influential ones. And that's going to be your core X-Men group.
But what do you think the big home run for them is going to be? Because they're saying that there's going to be a shocker coming on the first issue.
Just a feeling. Professor X goes bad.
Well, see, that's what me and Jonathan was talking about earlier. I believe that would be something that would compete up there. What about you, Mark?
Well, it could, but it's happened before.
Yeah.
Professor X has went bad. His psyche, shall we say, had detached itself from the body and created a completely new character. That was Onslaught. And he was wiping everybody out as he went through.
Yeah.
To me, that wouldn't be anything new.
Yeah.
Because I saw that happen in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. What I meant as, not separating like that, just coming out that, okay.
This whole time he's been
Yeah.
playing.
Playing them.
Yeah.
And
Well, what if him and Magneto kind of switch places?
Well, that's happened too.
Oh, has
I was
okay,
gonna say, that's
okay,
happened.
okay.
X-Men, it has ran for so long, and under Claremont was probably some of the best books I ever read, and that's no exaggeration. I mean, some of the best Wolverine, Colossus stories, Kitty Pryde coming in.
Yeah.
All those stories were fantastic stories. They were ones, like we were saying before, they took you away
Yeah.
from everything for a little while and gave you a different perspective on life. The X-Men were originally wrote as, back in the 60s with the race riots and things like that going on. That's what they were written to help people understand.
Yeah, and it was trying to teach us a value too.
Mhm.
Try to teach that just because you're different, like a mutant,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. Well, so it's going to have to be something big that they haven't already done before.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Too many possibilities.
Yeah, too many possibilities. Too many good characters to pull in right there, and I'm hoping that when they pull the core 10 in, which is what I believe that they're going to do, is I don't think they'll count Professor X as one of the core 10 because he was never really a field general, so to say.
Right.
He always
More
had
Cyclops.
Yeah.
Cyclops or Storm.
Yeah. Storm. Yeah.
And Storm was the leader of the Morlocks and the X-Men there at one point in time, at the same time.
Yeah.
Fantastic character, Storm is, and I hope that they bring her back.
Well, I hope they find somebody better than Cyclops to lead them.
Well, I'm not a fan of Cyclops.
Well, he's
Never
killed
have
more
been.
mutants than anybody has, then.
Well,
I mean, as far as
if
his rage and stupidity go.
if I had to go with a character that I think is a good leader, I would have to go with his brother. I'd have to go with Alex Summers, Havoc, because I think that he was probably the better leader of a X group than anybody has been, other than Storm.
What do you think Major X is going to play a role in any of
I
this?
hope not.
That came to be, Cable's son? Ain't that who they're claiming that is? I believe that's who they was claiming Major X was, Cable's son.
I think I heard something on that. I'm not as big as I used to be on X-Men.
Well,
I've kind of pulled back.
Yeah.
I try to read as much as I can, but I have a regular job.
Yeah. Well, David, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for pulling me in on that last little bit too. That was
Well, yeah, like I said, we was the original three was talking about it last week, and I figured I'd get y'all's input on it. Anyways, I've done a little research over the week, trying to speculate myself, and I figured I'd get what y'all thought.
Yeah.
Okay. But we thank you.
All right. I'll get out of here so whoever was talking can.
Well, no, that was Black Hammer. He was complaining a little bit.
We're gonna pull Indy in next.
He don't have his big boy britches on today. All right, Indy, my man Indy.
How's it going, buddy?
Indy,
Supreme,
yeah.
Volume 2, number 1.
There you go. Thank you.
Yep. Supreme Volume 2, number 1, November 1st, 1992. I think this was released. A Rob Liefeld creation that's actually pretty decent. Pretty much this is Supreme coming back to Earth 50 years after he went away for whatever reason. Because I've never read anything of Supreme Volume 1. And he just comes in swinging because they send up young blood to intercept this, what they refer to as a bogey, because they didn't even know it was him at first. And he just wrecks everything about them, and then they're like, whoa, okay, hold up, we'll pretty much take you to our leaders and let you talk to them. And they pretty much sit there and declare, like, yes, this is Supreme. This is the character from 50 years ago, and he seems to be more powerful than what he was. And this is just his tying kind of back into the early Image Comics superhero universe that was very, very full of very powerful characters, but none of them can really even touch this man.
Well, that's Supreme.
Yeah.
We all know, everybody sitting at this table, everybody in this room, Layfield likes to do knockoffs, and this is Superman.
Yep. This is angry old man Superman. This is get off my lawn Superman. That is the best way to describe Supreme. He does not care. He is not nuts.
Superman.
That's
I told
pretty
you,
much how he
kids.
is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make fun of you.
Hi, Mama.
Hey, Jonathan, Mama. I love you. But anyways, what would you say the artwork? Now, we were talking about the 80s, wasn't it?
No, this is early 90s.
Early
so
90s,
it is, yeah, this is the extreme era.
So it was that pop-out art.
It was that pop-out art where some pictures actually look really good, like in the first 2-3 pages of like Supreme just kind of coming down from space into the atmosphere. Just his silhouette is awesome, and then you get a picture where you have this huge, gigantic, muscly torso and a little itty-bitty peanut head on it. So
I expect a peanut head right there.
So the proportions are sadly all over the place, but
Well, we all know poor Layfield, he can't draw feet to begin with.
and surprisingly there is feet in this, and they are decent.
But he also
They're not
lacks
the best, but they're decent.
in several different aspects when he goes to drawing. It's never I've never seen anything consistent of his. You know.
Nothing comes to my mind either of his work, unfortunately. I mean, he's obviously done something, because despite everybody always joking about Layfield and everything like that, as soon as you say his name, everybody knows who
Yeah,
he is.
and he came out with Deadpool. He's the creator of Deadpool.
Which is an obvious ripoff of Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cable, which I believe that's about the only one he's really came out
Terminator.
with.
Terminator.
Hell yeah.
Terminator.
Well, DC just ripped off Cable, so we really can't say too much. You know. But the artwork, what are you rating?
No, like I said, there's good panels, and then there's just the artwork. So I'd say maybe about like a 7. But like I said, it's still good. when it's good, it's kind of beautiful. For as old as it is, 90s era where everything was the exaggerated proportions, the like huge chest and little pencil legs for some odd reason of characters. You could kind of overlook that with this.
Well, now the one thing I liked about the '90s art was the color. It just popped off the pages.
Oh yeah.
So I always enjoyed, late '80s, early '90s.
Like his color scheme is. All right, Daniel.
I didn't even have to know what he was saying. I knew what he was thinking. But anyways, so the storyline.
The storyline's good. Like I said, this is really just him immediately coming back to Earth, them thinking, okay, it's just another threat, send people up to get rid of them, and then them realizing their mistake, and it's just like, okay, well, we'll leave you alone for a little bit. But that's kind of all this one is. This is leading up to the next few issues, which I do have, and in those you do see more of the, as I like to call it, get off my lawn Superman, where he just really doesn't care how he gets the job done. If it's in his way, it's not going to be there much longer.
Supreme was a good book when it came out. I subscribed to it when it first came out. Volume 1 and the start of Volume 2. They were good books. The story held good and solid all the way through on all of them. The good part about these is if you want to go back and get them, they're dollar bin books.
Oh, definitely.
You can pick them up cheap. They're a good read. And let's face it, if you're collecting what you want to read. Don't speculate on this stuff. You're going to lose every dollar that you've ever had if you try to speculate. Read what you collect and collect what you read.
I mean, even then, this Volume 2 series, like you're saying, they're a dollar bin. I think there's only like 46, 47 comics just to this run, so that's about $50 worth, and you can get a entire run.
$46 or $47, John. Just saying.
I'm adding in taxes. I work in retail. I add my taxes. 8.9%, 9% at Rite Aid, because we like holdovers. But, I mean, yeah, it's a good run. This is kind of how we were talking about an evil Superman. A Superman, kind of like the Brightburn closest character. This is kind of, in a way, not exactly evil, but more on the lines of, this is what Superman can do if he just really didn't care. And that's how I see this character.
So you agree that you're into that? Drop back and get them.
Yeah.
Good reads.
Yeah, good reads.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Well, John, we appreciate it.
So, no problem.
We're doing Professor.
Let's bring Black Hammer over here next.
Black Hammer. Fiddle.
War of the Realms #1.
Now we had a request for this one. Joshua Ferguson and Tony both wanted to do that.
Yeah. I was gonna try to do both of them, but I didn't get to read it yesterday. I was late getting off work today, and then when I got here and I started reading that, I was like, "There's just no way."
Oh yeah, come on.
It is a long comic book. That being said, this is going to be a fantastic series in the Marvel Universe. Marvel has not disappointed me on this one. Amazing. You jump into it, you gotta, it's kind of like jumping into a Lord of the Rings movie. They're telling you what's going on. You're seeing these cool little mystical maps. You're seeing, what's going down. The realms are in ruin, and it's just now getting, in this book, you'll see they're bringing Midgard into it. But, how it starts out is you got Odin Allfather and some juicy bits that I can't talk about. sitting in Asgard. With some great things happen. This is gonna be hard to review because there's so much good stuff from beginning to end. I wouldn't want to spoil it for anybody. Um,
How was the art all the way through the book?
it's good. The art is really good. And for the Avenger movie fans out there who like the movie, you'll really like the art because they focused a lot on how the characters looked in the movies. Like I know it's Loki and Thor, they look a lot like their live action counterparts. And it's not hard to do Black Panther or Captain America. But, they're there. But what I really like about this is they're bringing not just the Avengers, but there's Blade, you have Ghost Rider, you have She-Hulk, you have Venom. Everybody is in this book.
Yeah, they're bringing out the whole cast of Marvel, I
Oh
believe.
yeah. The Punisher War of the Realms #1 that we reviewed.
Yeah.
It falls in, of course, with this story.
Yeah, and after reading it, I dropped back to get this one just to try to do a little catch up. And like I say, I've read that one, and I agree, it's drawn out a little long.
Yeah.
I believe they could have cut some of it out to make it a little bit better, but they thought what they done was best. But
Well, for the sake of the story ongoing, maybe they needed that.
they do. Which I believe the second one is just as bad. I mean, as far as not bad, but just as far as
Drawn out.
lengthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he says, the artwork is good in it. Storyline's real good.
And I mean, I loved it. I can't say I picked this and then start to finish. And I was after I do this review, I hate to spoil it for you, but I am going to go read number 2. Y'all need to pick it up. Number 1. This was a special treat though for my wife to let me bring this cover in because it was the only. Every comic book got one, right? Every comic book store got one cover. This was the midnight release edition, so it's a little stuff, little eye candy for everybody out there in YouTube land. It's a beautiful cover. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's sexy. But I mean, so everyone, shout out to my wife Wanda.
And it's a book for about everybody. I didn't mean to cut you off for shouting out.
No, you're good. You're good. It is gory at times,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's Marvel.
Yeah.
It's a. I don't know
I
how it
mean,
can
if you allowed them to watch the movies,
Yeah.
you let them watch that.
It's a kid-friendly gory, I guess you
Yeah.
can say.
Well,
If
yeah,
there's
about,
a
as,
thing.
about as you can. But like I say, if you watch and let them watch the, the Avengers stuff, you can watch that. And behind the scenes action, never a dull moment here at Rednecks on Comics. But storyline's good.
Yes, it is.
What would you rate the storyline?
9.5. It's long.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
It's long,
You liked it that much?
but I liked it
9.5.
that much. I loved it.
And it leaves you to believe, after reading that, the two's going to be just as good.
Yeah, I can't wait to start reading that
Yeah.
right after, actually.
And like I said, we read the spin-off, the Punisher,
Yeah.
and it was,
Oh, it was
I
Yeah.
started I'm starting the Daredevil branch too. I've got that one, and I do have the Punisher one I've been reading on, and I'm getting ready to start Venom because I know Venom's got his branch in it. So once again, this storyline. This is just the main issue. This isn't one of the branch stories. It's fantastic. So if this is that good, I'm imagining that the branches are going to be.
yeah.
I'm holding with the same expectation.
well, the Punisher, like I say, the Punisher is, I believe it was actually better than that one. But Punisher 2, the second one that just dropped this week, didn't
It's
it?
out this week.
I said this is up to book 3. I just picked up 3 last week. Is 4 out
It's
yet?
actually 4. Yeah,
4 is
it's
out,
out,
so
yeah.
I'll pick that up this week. And
Yeah, I thought we was only on 2 when,
Yeah.
when we was talking. Got to look, and then they was up to 4.
4 has
But they've already been.
4 has that Valkyrie cover. It should be right behind you.
it's right
there.
here, yeah, it's nice.
It's a beautiful cover on number 4. Battle lines variant.
And they've already put, about 5 spin-offs off of it already?
You have what is it? Strike Force. You have Daredevil,
Spider-Man.
Punisher, Spider-Man, and
Agents of Atlas.
yes, Agents of Atlas, and Venom. Yes,
Has
so
Venom
6,
dropped
yeah.
yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Venom is
actual
dropped.
one.
It's actually I'm not gonna take the time. Too many comic books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's definitely a good series to pick up. It's on. I think it's on everyone's pull list that's at this table. I mean, pick it up,
At least parts of it.
parts of it. Yeah, everyone's got a part of it.
Well, like I say, I wanted to drop back just to see. It wasn't something I was going to keep up with.
Yeah.
I've got so much going on right now, but I am keeping up with the Punisher one.
Well, originally I wasn't even gonna read it because I hate to say I'm strictly DC,
Yeah.
but I kind of am because I'm disappointed often by Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And
But,
for those of you out there in YouTube land who are saying Agents of Atlas is sold out everywhere, no, it's not.
Is that the last copy we have here?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say because it's about to be.
And every cover, even the non-variant covers, has been
They're beautiful.
spectacular.
They have
Yeah.
been amazing, and that's you pick up a lot of comic books with like some of the Battleline variants will pick up a great cover and have horrible artwork.
Yeah.
So for me, I looked at this cover, I was like, this is great. The inside's probably gonna suck. Blown away.
Yeah.
Blown away. So.
But in all fairness, that don't just go for Marvel.
yeah,
I picked
well,
up a few DC here lately
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
kind of
that
crappy
Batman-
on the inside.
Batman.
Well, that Catwoman,
Yeah,
it was
it's
amazing
crap.
on the outside, but that inside art was
But,
sucky.
Well, as a matter of fact, let's talk about that for just a second. We reviewed Batman
Yeah, Tom
last
King.
week,
Yes.
and evidently a lot more people felt the same way about the book that we did because he's no longer on the book.
No, he's got what, two more
Two more
issues
issues.
coming out. But didn't you say that he's going to transfer him over to
He's
another
going
run?
to Batman Catwoman.
Is that going to be starting at a number one?
I believe, yes. From what I'm hearing, it's going to start at number
Well,
one.
We get to see if he's any good because
It-
in his defense, he did pick up in a run.
Yeah.
About halfway through it, so he's getting a chance to start off on his own. So we'll give him a fair review of it.
He's getting a chance to tell his own story.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what he does with his own story. He's not trying to. It's hard to do anything with a Bat book because of the history.
Yeah, because
you have so much
unless you're just going to
expectation
follow
of it.
somebody else's writing,
Yeah.
and you've got to start, you've got to take their writing, but transfer it slowly over to yours, and that was his problem. He wanted to do it. Seemed like to me all at one time instead of just spreading it out. But yeah, we wasn't the only one was hating on that. I don't believe because, like I say,
It's-
that next day I was looking online. It's like Tom King to be replaced. I'm like, huh?
Well, I don't read anybody else's reviews on a book before we review the book.
Yeah.
Because it's only fair that we give our impartial.
Well, I don't even know what we're reviewing until you show up. The day we do the video. So
Yeah. And I decided like 15 minutes before I got here what we were going to do today. So
but yeah, like I say,
I recommend it. I recommend it. Parents, read it first. I recommend it. I'd let my kids read it,
yeah,
but I'm a comic book dad, so I wouldn't let them read. I won't let them touch my Lady Death magazines. I won't let them. I won't let them read my Lady Death comics, but they can read this.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'll
Like I
read it to
say,
'em.
my 4-year-old, I let him watch the
Yeah.
Avengers, so I would let him, if he could read right now, I'd let him read it. But
That's the thing. That's a lot of people. There are good comic books, and then there's adult comic books.
Oh yeah.
I'd let my. I'd
Yeah,
read this as a
now
bedtime story.
you can't just run out and just grab a comic book and say here
No,
and hand it to your kid.
Yeah, look at them.
If you do that, then you need to.
But yeah, artwork. Probably 8.5. Read 9.5. Altogether, I'd give this book a 9. High 9. I won't throw any points in there because I want to read number 2.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to reading number 2. You'll have to forgive me for being so pumped up and everywhere right now because I'm on pre-workout and I'm jacked up. Long day at work. Long day.
Well, we thank you for making it in. We was
Anytime.
kind of worried about you and didn't know if you was
Yeah.
going to make it or not, but we
I'm
glad
happy I
you
didn't
did.
get pulled over.
Maybe you can touch base on number 2 a little bit. We'll have you do something
Oh,
else,
yeah.
but maybe
Oh, yeah.
touch base a little bit on it.
Indeed. But yeah, just like I said, it's always fun to be here with you guys, man.
Yeah, we enjoy you having you.
All right. Peace out.
Next up, we got the Professor, Professor Terry.
I'm going to leave that and setting up there for a few more minutes, but we talked to Professor
Well,
Terry.
you want to throw his up there?
Yeah. Well, it's catching
that's
its layer.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. First of all, we want to say thank you to the Professor. He brought in a cover done by Alex Morales. Albert. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry, Albert. Albert Morales. I'll let them talk about it while I pull up this question.
Well, I bought that at the Longhorn Comic Con last year. It's when he had done himself and he had it for sale. I give a good amount of money for it for my birthday. It's one of a kind. He said he had one more of the Dark Knight's Metal he was going to do a whole different cover of. I don't know what it looks like, but he said he would not do that one again. And if you see on here, we got a lot of beautiful covers sitting up here right now. I think it stands up to any of those. He's mainly doing cards for Marvel and stuff like that. He's got his own thing coming, his own comic coming. But I think Marvel DC would do good, just at the least, to let him start doing some variant covers or something.
Scare this way a little bit.
But I think they should let him start doing a lot of variant covers at least or something. He's a good artist. I mean, my personal opinion. Everybody's different, likes different artists.
Well, I'm not going to throw out any names of companies, but to me, I know he was up for a shot at doing a cover for a certain independent and done a beautiful job on it, kind of a chibi style. And apparently they didn't take his, but they came out with one awful similar to it.
Yeah.
And kept me from buying the book. I mean, I was thinking about buying the book, but yeah, no, I mean,
He does the best chibi I've ever seen.
Yeah,
When it comes to
yeah.
chibi, he's probably the best.
so,
He did a chibi Spawn one time at the convention.
yeah.
Print of it. It's gorgeous. It's really
Like I say, I ain't gonna throw out no, names or nothing, but, what is it, Take Guy?
Oh, you're good.
Oh, okay. But you'll get to see his artwork at our Comic Con coming up, Dragons Mountain Comic Con, June 8th and 9th.
Yep. And one of his little deals that he's been working on the side is called Florina of Rhodesh. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
It just hit for writing and illustrating, and he illustrated it. First place winner of the Young Adult Fantasy book.
Oh, yeah.
He is now an award-winning artist, and hopefully he'll have some copies of this with him when he shows up.
Well, I'm not just saying this because he's going to be here. He's one of the best artists that I've seen, in the game today. Especially for somebody that don't have a actual, to a big name. He does have his own
Angry Rooster,
Angry Rooster
Studios.
studios. So, last year he done a Superman for our Comic Con exclusive. This year he's going to be the Batman.
Yep.
The Detective Comics. So yeah, if you get a chance to come out to it.
Hey Jonathan, reach right there and see if you can pull one of those out. Right in behind those books. Right in behind those. Right there.
Yeah,
The other
that's
side.
good.
No.
One of them big. There you go. This was actually the Comic Con exclusive from last year.
I think his art holds up against anybody's.
Yeah.
When it comes to being detailed. I see he did an Action 1000 for me last year. I didn't bring that with me. And I see a little bit of Joe Midoriya and McGinnis in there, but not him being a copy of them. But I see the influence of that.
Yeah.
And was very, very impressed.
Well, that might be one of our questions for him. Who influenced him
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
artist?
Yeah,
You'll see.
we'll see if I'm right about that. That's
Yeah.
what I saw now. I
Yeah.
didn't mean I'm right about that.
Well, we do have a question for you, Professor. This one actually came from Indy Yank. He commented on the our Facebook. It says, I have a question for Professor Terry. Before going to work for Marvel, what limited series did Greg Capullo work on?
Well, I don't remember the name of the independent company. It was named Gore Shriek was the name. I don't even know anything about the book. A lot of artists like him, they got their start on these one-off little mini-series independent books that you have no idea, don't know what they are. It's hard to tell where you can even find a copy of that. But a lot of them didn't even start with Marvel and DC, and he was one of them. Of course, now he's doing a lot of DC work, and he's getting ready to do that Batman on the Last Night on Earth. It's coming out, I think, this week it drops, or is it next week? It's coming out.
Well, it says here that it was picked up and published by a comic book store in Albany, New York called Fantico Enterprise.
Okay, just some little independent company.
So it wasn't even one of the big name men.
A lot of artists got started that way. It's
Oh, yeah,
they're
yeah.
just starting out
Well, you gotta get your name out
nowhere.
there.
Like Albert's got this book his coming out
Yeah.
from the little with self-published or a little company. We'll have to talk to him more about that when he's here.
Yeah, maybe we can get him to tell that story where he actually got his first break at. That was a good one.
Maybe we can.
But Albert, he's a good guy. He's down to earth. He'd fit right in with us, anyways. But I mean, you got several of these, don't you?
I got a few of them
And
left.
some smaller prints. You want to go ahead? 15 for the big ones, and these are actually signed by Albert also. So if you want to pick one up, let us know.
This is the only place in the United States you can get that poster, that particular one right there, because it was done exclusively for that show, and what we have left is all there is.
Yeah, we have the smaller versions. Well, that's what, 8 by 10,
Yeah, somewhere
the
around.
smaller version.
Yeah, it's like 8 of the big ones at least.
But well, I had a question that I wanted to ask, and I was corrected earlier, but I was always thinking Gotham was like a New York City portrayal of the city. Mark informed me that I was wrong. He said it would be, by today's standards anyways, more of a Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
What would that make Metropolis?
Metropolis is more of the brighter, sunnier, dark. Gotham's dark, it's sunny. I think maybe Orlando, Florida, or something like that.
Always
Something
sunny in
where it's
Philadelphia.
just, sunnier place.
Well,
Not dark all the time.
if you'll remember, 1 month before 9/11 happened, almost 1 month to the day, there was an issue of Action Comics came out with Superman hovering in front of the Twin Towers that had been damaged in a
Forgot about
battle.
that. Yeah.
And all the people around were asking, why does he not help us rebuild this? And one of the guys said, if he helped us every time something like this happened, then we would become totally dependent on him.
Yeah.
He's making us be who we are, making us better people for it. So I think it would be New York.
Yeah. Based on that, yeah, I've forgotten all about that. That's right. I forgot they had done that. It's been a while.
I actually have a copy of that book in my
Okay.
personal collection.
Yeah.
See, well, for a little man, I'd like to have that coffee. So if you run across nothing, I need it.
It
But,
always was the sunnier city compared to
Yeah.
Gotham. Nice, I mean, not in the sunlight. I'm just talking brighter.
oh yeah,
A
better attitude.
Yeah,
and,
just wasn't as dark.
More inviting than
Right. Yeah.
more inviting big city. I would think.
and each city, I mean, to the character that's protecting that, the hero that's protecting, it matches the personality to each,
Yeah, Keystone City for the Flash.
Yeah.
Coast City
Yeah.
for Hal Jordan.
So, did you have a question you want to ask Professor?
Me and Terry sat around and we asked each other questions all the time.
Like I say, anything that I need to know, you two are the people that I go to ask. Mark don't know it, Terry knows it, and vice versa.
Yeah. Try to fill the gaps in.
yeah.
I do have a question. How do you think that, going back to the question that he asked earlier, how do you think that this Power of 10 and House of X is going to play out?
Oh, I don't know. The X-Men, those books, there was a time they ruled, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to capture the magic. They're good characters, but you can't have 20 books in.
Right.
Why would you want to subscribe, say, okay, I'm subscribing to 20 books this month, but I can't buy anything else because all of them's X-Men books. I like to
But
have a variety.
that's the thing about
They
Power of
stretch.
10, ain't it? They're going to do away with all the runs, ain't it?
Yeah.
If they could just get down to a couple core books.
Yeah, all the X books are being canceled. Even X-23, I'm sorry to say, because
Yeah,
my daughter loves that book.
Really?
They're taking all the X books out. House of X and Power of 10 are going to lead off, and then they're going to restart with number ones. I don't know how many titles they're going to throw out there at us, but that's what they're doing.
Well, they got the Power 10. I mean, they say Power X, but like we discussed, the X is the Roman numeral for 10. So it's be about the Power 10 and the House of X. Going by the Power 10, you figure that there's just going to be 10 main characters. I mean, just, again, speculating. I ain't really said anything, but figure that's what it's going to be. And at most, you was thinking that 10 would be all that they came out with, and like the 50 or 60 that they've got out now.
They could just stick to two core books, man.
Yeah.
Just like they're gonna do. It'd be worth everybody give it a shot. You can't get too many books out there like that. They're doing too many. Even Spider-Man's getting too many now.
But that
Got to.
leads us to the soapbox that we'll get to here in a little bit.
Yeah. You got to get back to the basics, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they can, get. Will they ever get the magic they once had? I don't know. I mean, at one time they ruled. The X-Men books just ruled everything.
Well, with Claremont leading the pack, it was hard for them to be a losing book
Yes.
at that point in
Yeah,
time. I mean, he's a fantastic writer, always.
Yeah. Well, this new guy, what was his name? The new one's going to take over the writer.
I forgot.
Yeah, I did too. Anyways, he claims that he's going to try to compete with the original. The original.
And I hope he
deal.
does. I hope he does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see true X-Men fans want to get some.
Yeah, but like we said, there's a fine line between cocky and confidence, and we'll see pretty
Yeah.
soon which one he
Time will
is.
tell. Yeah.
Well, Terry, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Again, if you got a question, need an answer to, or just want to try to stump Professor, send it on the comments below, or our Facebook page, either one, and we'll read it to him on air. Well, we're up, ain't we?
I guess we are.
All righty. Shoot for it. Oops. My bad. All right, you want to do the cover, or you want to save that for lunch? Save that for then.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's say that.
All right. That was my favorite. Avengers 19.
I think it is 19. Let's take a real quick look and see. I'm almost positive, but it is. Battle Lines variant. On Avengers number 19.
Got Blade, one of the best characters out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a really good character. He was going to be up for the cover week, but we'll get to that here in a minute. But starting off with, that first couple of panels, and I was in.
Yeah. Good story.
Yeah,
With a good twist at the end.
yeah. Again, you're starting on 19. It was a cold read for me. I hadn't read anything up to this.
I had not either.
Yeah. So
it is a War of the Realms crossover book.
yeah.
Not one of the main crossovers, but a crossover story.
I guess it's kind of filling in gaps, here and there where the War of the Realms. Yeah, and you could tell that's, it didn't even have to have War of the Realms on there, and about, a couple pages into it, you knew where they was going with it.
If you pick this book up, make sure you read the header on page 1, and that pretty much catches you up to the point to where the book is a solid read behind that. If I hadn't read that, I would have been a little bit lost.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they see them little headers, and they're like, well, I'll just stick to the... And you miss out on a lot of stuff, and you can be confused at times. But, like I say, after the headers, even the headers, you was trying to figure out who it was talking to begin with, and then all of a sudden, and several characters that, I haven't seen used in a while.
Yeah.
All come together. Good read, good art.
The talk about Dracula in it.
Yeah.
Now, Marvel Comics Dracula is one of my favorite villain characters. Has been for years. And, we're not talking about the old bow tie Dracula, which is a good character.
Yeah.
We're talking about the long gray hair villain.
To get off my yard.
Yeah, to get off my lawn, Dracula.
But and well, you're talking about, and it's really not a spoiler because especially if you came up with the War of the Realms, they're talking about the Dark Elves, the Frost Giants. You've got Dracula in there. Like I say, you've got several characters that you're surprised to see coming out. There's one that I'm just lost at. I won't mention it on there. We'll talk about it later. But I'm gonna say artwork was 8.5.
I give it an 8. Yeah, it's solid all the way through.
And I'm gonna say storyline again, picking it up. I'm gonna say 9 because it wanted me to go back and catch up. Plus, it wants me to, especially like I say, the ending. You know, if you ain't surprised at that ending, you need to just give up on comic books because that was a mind blower.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
No,
Not out of that character,
No,
anyway.
not the way the comic went. But again, I'm gonna say a 9 on the storyline.
I'll give it an 8 also. I liked it. I liked the story. I liked the way it read. Good, solid all the way through. Easy to follow.
Yeah, even though you haven't read the other ones, like I say, the header at the beginning catches you up to where you need to be
Yeah.
to go ahead and read this one. But yeah, like I say, I want to go back and catch up on it, or well, like I say, the header catches you up, but I want to go back and read the first ones. But I'm dying to see where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, it should be an interesting twist moving on.
Yeah. Because the character that he was talking to at the end, was even as mind blowing as what he was going to do. And if that don't raise your curiosity, nothing will. But yeah, and it's a beautiful cover. Battlefield.
Battle lines.
Battle Line. I don't know why I say Battlefield every time. But Battle Line's, it's got Blade on it. Good character, like I say. And I'd say 10 and up, wouldn't you? If not a little bit younger.
I'd go 10 on it. Yeah, 10 and up. It may be a little too intense for anybody under that age.
Yeah.
But like we've said before, you're the parent. Read the book first,
Yeah.
and then you can decide whether your kids need to read it or not.
But Marvel, in my opinion, Marvel's always been a family friendly. Unless it's their Max run or something like that. So,
The Spider-Man books have always been geared more toward,
yeah,
the younger audience, even though they have some mature things in them that you would have to be older to pick up on.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, to a kid, it ain't nothing but a mature, like I say, somebody a little bit of maturity has, but they catch the deal. But I didn't see nothing wrong with it.
It was a good book. It was a good book. It had a good story. It had a good twist at the end. You were hooked by page 2. Want to know what was going on and how it was going to play out. Good, solid book. That's
Yeah.
what comic books are supposed to be.
Oh yeah, yeah, and any comic book that will let you go to 19 and start off and not really be lost through it is a good book.
Yeah.
I'm like Black Hammer. I'm not a big, well, my opinion is like Black Hammer. Marvel has let me down several times in the past.
Yeah.
But here lately, the War of the Realms, I've kind of been getting a little bit more trust built back into them. But yeah, like I say, good solid read.
That, speaking of Marvel letting people down, Secret Empire.
Yeah.
Secret Empire. Unworthy Thor.
Well, it seems like they'll get to a character to where they need them, and then all of a sudden they change it, and I don't understand it. I don't know if it's just. But now the soapbox, I did like the Stan soapbox.
Yeah.
It touched base on what was Professor Terry was talking about. So many titles out there, and I felt myself wondering the same thing. But he does have a point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a spoiler. They listen to their fans and meet the demand best they can.
Yep.
You got people wanting this character to have a title and this character to have a title. And when they do it, why you got so many? I ain't got enough money for every title, but you got to do what the people says, I guess.
Well,
And if it's benefiting them, it's benefiting them. You can't blame them there.
it's like the difference between the original X-Men books and the later X-Factor books. When you bring Scott Summers back in the X-Men title as the leader of the group, and X-Factor, you think it's going to fade away into nothing, but they drop Alex Summers, Havoc, into the lead role with a completely different team halfway through it. At that point in time, I had to have both books.
Yeah.
Because they were both carrying on the right way, and then you had X Force that was going on at the same time, and I had to have all of those because.
But don't you think that doing the X-Men Blue, the X-Men Gold, the X-Men Red, now, ain't that just a little bit too much?
Yeah.
I mean, because you can feel, to me, and I'm by no means, I'm not a writer, I'm not an artist on these, and all I know is what I read and what I like. But it looks like they could take them characters and, join them together somewhere down the line and, not so many books to me. But, if you got the demand for it, go for it. Can't blame them for wanting to make money, But, guess all agree. I recommend it.
I would too. Just the same as I would the next one.
Yeah,
ready to
yeah,
come
yeah.
here. Detective Comics number 1011.
Yeah, now it's talking about jumping in the middle of a run. The last one I read was Detective Comics, or not Detective, but Action Comics number 1000.
Yeah.
1000. Then I had, I read that when Bendis first took over, that Bendis run that they had. That's the last Superman thing other than this I read. Well, the Injustice, but that really wasn't Superman. That was the evil Superman.
I didn't do with Action the same thing I did with Detective. Detective, I backed up and I started 975, and I kept those up all the way through. I wish I had with Action, but just because of the Oz Effect storyline, which turned out to be something that has bled over.
Okay, so it's still continuing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought, Detective, they let you know, that, hey, you need to go ahead and start picking it up now if you want to be able to keep up with the Arkham Knight and all this.
Yeah.
I didn't get the same feeling out of that because, Bendis was going to take over after number 1000, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, but I always can drop back and, give you something to shoot for, drop back and grab it. But you can start that if you want to.
Good, solid story. I enjoyed it. This whole Leviathan thing, this is the first time that I've read anything about it, and it's something different than I had it imagined to be reading the previews.
Yeah.
I know that they mentioned Talia al Ghul in there, at least at one point, being involved with it, and
Amanda Waller.
it may be I may be wrong, but it may be the start of like almost a new Intergang type storyline for Action Comics for Superman.
It does. It gives you, kind of an insight of certain, I'm going to say bad people, but there's some that's bad that tries to play the good side,
Yeah.
But I've never been so confused and want so much at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's how a comic's supposed to be. Even if you start at 1011, if you read a comic and it wants you to drop back to where that whole run began,
Yeah.
that's a good comic, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
I agree 100%. The art probably was not quite as good as the Avengers, but it was still solid all the way through.
Yeah.
And
You didn't have one panel that was just awesome, and the next panel was just crap.
no, it was solid solid art all the way through. The storyline was good and solid. Even picking up in the middle of a storyline, you still were able to kind of grasp where they were at and where it was going.
Now, Marvel, it did give you the headers, to kind of keep you up with what's going on. This one didn't, but what I found about DC is 9 times out of 10, not every time, but 9 times out of 10, they'll stop a comic book at the perfect place where you can start in the next comic and kind of make sense with it.
Yeah.
Like I say, I was kind of confused. Not that nothing that they done wrong. It's just where I hadn't read anything up to that.
Right.
But it does make enough sense where you're like, well, I know what's going on. I want to drop back to read it, but I also want to be there, And again, the same as the Marvel, that second panel, action packed from there on, all the way through it. The artwork, like I say, I don't believe it was quite as good as the Marvel. I'm gonna say 8 on that one. I know you gave. That's what you gave Marvel, but I gave Marvel a little bit. 8.5.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop down just a little bit. Storyline.
I'm gonna give that one a 7, but I'm gonna keep the storyline at an 8 on this one.
Yeah.
Storyline's good. It's good and solid. It's not hard to keep up with.
No.
And like I say, we're dropping in on part 5 of the Leviathan storyline, and we're still able to read it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Like I say, I want to find out more about it, but it didn't leave me, so confused that I couldn't, enjoy this book.
Right.
But yeah, I recommend it. Again, 10 and up, if not younger. Again, parents' discretion.
Right. And Superman's always been a good, solid character, and there's never really been anything what you would call out of line with the Superman book. It's kind of like going back and reading Spider-Man again. I mean, just a classic character, the first superhero in all reality, Superman, and I believe they're kind of doing him justice again.
Yeah. Like I say, Superman, he's just a good moral character. They've been these writers that's made him bad, and much crap as he's got to put up with. To stay that good is a miracle in its own. But he's always been a good kid-friendly character.
Yeah. I've been watching Superman. I've even went back and watched the original Kirk Allen serials and everything else on Superman. I've been a lifelong Superman fan. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, Superman is the first book that I ever crawled up on my dad's lap and he read to me, was a Superman book. So, I've been hooked on that character from an early age, but different characters have came out through the years that have caught my interest and everything. I've still got a lot of Superman stuff from the 1950s and 60s in my personal collection, but I haven't kept up with it until the new Action Comics 1000 hit, and then it was sort of hit and miss with me reading them at that point. But if they've all been this good, I can see why they sell the way they do.
Makes me want to drop back and get more. I've got so many in my pull list, and that's the hard thing, is narrowing down your pull list. If I ever win the lottery, you're going to be a rich man with me, because my pull list is going to grow. But yeah, I recommend it. You can't go wrong. Whether you're a seasoned comic book collector
or just starting.
Yeah, just starting. It's Superman.
And like I said, don't speculate on your comics. Collect a character that you enjoy reading, and go with it from there. Because if you try to speculate on the comic books, then you're just going to get disgusted with it and you're going to quit.
And don't use movies to pick your character out. Because just because it's a good character in a movie, you're going to be very disappointed when you open up that book and figure out what that character is all about. You really are. But anyways, good read. Now for the cover of the week.
Cover of the week is on Venom number 14. It's the Carnage Battle Lines variant. Not 100% personally my favorite one this time out, but I got outvoted by several people. At least 3 of them standing on the other side of the room over there.
Yeah, they suck. But anyways, and we decided that's what we're going to do is go ahead and post these, let the people decide what they think. My opinion, I thought Blade was a better go.
Well, the Doctor Strange battle line variant this time was an extremely good cover.
All of them, every battle line cover that came out was good. Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur.
Helena.
Yeah, Helena. Can't remember that other girl's name.
Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry. All of them. The Batgirl. I didn't even see it. John was showing it to me.
Yeah.
It was.
Of course, that's not battle lines. That's just
Okay.
DC being DC.
Okay.
And having a good cover.
Okay. Well, now he's got a point. The only one that. Shut up, man. That was Indy's fault. He was like, "Hey, look at this one." But anyways, DC has dropped the ball.
Well,
Nightwing.
yeah, they did for quite a while on Nightwing, but now they sort of redeemed
Yeah,
themselves.
they
with
did.
This last
They
one.
did. But and then Plastic Man.
That wasn't very good.
But anyways,
Even the Squirrel Girl battle line's very
yeah.
Yeah, just don't open a book. You'll avoid the warranty.
But yeah, it was a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
Cover was the only thing good about it.
Well,
Utter disappointment.
you can talk smack all you want to about Squirrel Girl, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't she one of the ones that's took down Thanos before?
Indeed, she got the gauntlet from Dallas.
Yeah, you know. You know, whatever universe it happened in, she took down Thanos.
He hates that road.
Yeah, he can't stand it.
Did somebody just say she beat Doctor Doom?
Yeah.
There is a comic where Squirrel Girl has beaten Doctor
Yes,
Doom.
indeed.
I might have to start taking up to keep up with this little girl. She's
Not
bad.
bad, but she's not a bad character. Despite contrary belief.
Well, I can't give her a fair shake because I ain't never read nothing by her ever. But you know,
I'll let you borrow my most recent one. You can review that next week. Let's see what your opinion is then.
well, like I say, she did. You know, if she took down Thanos and Doom, yeah, she's got something going for her.
Let's talk about that for just a second.
Somebody bad now.
The entire Fantastic Four have been laid waste to by Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it happening. Somebody can have a very vivid imagination and put it on paper if they want to.
Well, let me ask you
But-
this. All right, if you had something run up your pants leg and saying, "Let's eat one now and save one for later," wouldn't you give up a gauntlet?
No problem.
Okay. Just saying. He might went from a almond joy to a mounds real fast.
But it sounds like you know this from experience.
Shut up.
Yeah, you about got me started.
Now looking for a new tech guy, please put in your applications at greendragoncomics.com.
No, we love our tech guy.
Hey,
Love to hate him. But again, you know, there's so many characters, you know, and I like Batman, but for him to do a crossover where he gut kicked the Hulk to make him go, you know, I mean, come on.
That's just as dumb as the squirrel.
Alright, I've got it pulled up here. December 1991, Squirrel Girl defeated Doctor Doom by overwhelming him with a massive amount of squirrels.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my
But
life.
not only do you have one run up your pants leg, you got a massive amount.
What did I say? Happened in the stupid verse.
Huh?
Another
so was that picked up on the mic?
Was it? Well, in case it wasn't, David let us know that how she defeated Doom was by a massive amount of squirrels, all at one time. So,
And Dr. Doom exclaimed, "Confound these wretched rodents." For every one I fling away, a dozen more vex me.
Oh, keep reading.
Comics have gone to hell as we know it.
no, this was old. You can't blame New Comics on this one.
Apparently went to hell in 1991.
For those who can't see Professor Terry's face, it is just utter disappointment and shame. He's mad.
He will be selling his entire comic collection tomorrow. I'm done.
So all my famous figures.
Wait till they cross her over and she beats Doomsday.
Oh.
Thus far, Squirrel Girl has beaten Dr. Doom, the Mandarin, Giganto, MODOK, Thanos, Terrax, the Bobbies, Deadpool, and Pluto.
She beat a planet? Just joking. Just
Pluto's
kidding.
not a planet.
Just kidding.
Mickey's dog.
That's animal abuse.
She's a squirrel, bro.
You know what happened when, you know what Mickey said when Pluto fell out of the spaceship? Doggone.
Oh, let's edit that out. That was horrible.
I like my Amish air conditioner.
But anyways, we do thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for putting up with us. We're just here having a good time, trying to share the love.
Before reviews.
Yeah, use a little jacked. But don't forget Dragon Mountain Comic Con, June 8th and 9th. Be the 7th. Albert will be here.
Yes, we should have him. He will be on the show the 7th. We will have it out probably by midnight that night.
Red Neck Comic t-shirts will be there, but limited supply. I don't have one.
We will have a few Rednecks on Comic t-shirts. Black Hammer just informed us.
That's these damn squirrels.
That's what we need. For Professor Terry. Professor Terry. Fix these egg squirrels. But yeah, Albert will be here that Friday. Actually, got another guy coming to the con. He won't be joining us, but maybe we can get him on our Saturday one.
What we're going to try to do throughout the convention to keep y'all updated, and hopefully the tech guy will be off that day. We're going to film some segments, and we're going to run them back down here and post them out throughout the day. Even if he's not here, I'm sure Black Hammer will help us out with that.
Much love.
Now we do have several people that's not going to be able to make it to the Comic Con that wants to know if they're going to be able to buy stuff from the Comic Con. Is there any way that we can set up something that maybe, you know, because I'm sure that
Possibly.
they won't be the only one.
We might possibly be able to do a Facebook Live on the Rednecks on Comics
Okay.
to do something like that.
All right. But we'll try to help you out what we can. So just keep on Facebook for more updates. But I want to thank everybody, all the guests. Thank y'all for watching us. Like I say, putting up with us.
Good night.